What's up guys, Melikan here from mkaugaming.com, once again bringing you the latest and greatest in gaming news and reviews. And today, thanks to the team at Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering, we're doing a little bit of an unboxing again, or more an unpacking. As you can see in front of us, we have the new Innistrad Midnight Hunt. So lock your doors, shutter your windows, the werewolves roam. The Dark approaches with Innistrad Midnight Hunt, the first of two full card set releases featuring the iconic Gothic horror plane. The besieged humans of Innistrad hope to ward off the coming dark, for beyond the village walls, werewolves and other horrors roam free. So, in case you can't guess, this one seems to be themed around werewolves, and they've actually, part of this release, there's 19 new werewolf double-faced cards that transform into their monstrous form under the full moon. Now, I'm not entirely sure how this works, because I haven't actually opened any of these packs, and I feel like double-faced cards would be a little bit hard to do, so I'm not entirely sure how that happens. Obviously, when you're playing a normal game, when you're drawing out of a deck, you don't know what you're going to get until you flip it over. Obviously, that's not a werewolf. But we're just going to dive right in and have a look at these cards, because, as I said in my previous unboxing video, Magic the Gathering has some absolutely fantastic artwork on them, and I've been fortunate enough that Wizards of the Coast have sent me 5 of these 12 card booster packs. So, as with all of your stock standard boosters, if I can get that in focus in the right spot, it may contain cards 1 to 325, 1 to 4, and 31 to 38. Includes a combination of 1 to 4 cards of rarity, rare or higher, as well as an art card. It also contains 2 to 7 uncommons, 3 to 8 commons, and 1 land card. Now, there may also be 1 non-art card and 1 non-land card of any rarity that can be foil. And there is a less than 1% chance of a rare, foil, mythic, borderless planeswalker in any of these boosters. So apologies if you didn't see that. Camera works a bit shoddy. But let's just dive right in with pack number 1, hey? We'll have a quick look. I do apologise for my massive hands. Or at least they look massive on camera. If I can actually get this open. No, I can't, so bear with me. Oh, okay. I've just noticed there's this here. My bad. You'd think I'd know that by now, considering how many packs of cards I've opened in the past, not including ones that Wizards of the Coast have graciously given us. But first and foremost, we have a spider with reach, and it's a 1/2 card. So 1 attack, 2 defense. It is a token card, so let's flip her over. Yep. So this is just a token card. It's not something you'd actually put into your deck. For those who aren't familiar with the game. So we'll flip this back over. We have a lovely art card. Nice little creepy looking, I want to say a vampire, but then it could be a werewolf because of the claws. Who knows? He's obviously not in wolf form. We have a new gorgeous forest card. Obviously it is just black and white, but the green around the edge sort of has a bit of a nice shine to it. Sorcery, put a 1/1 counter on target creature you control. It gains vigilance until the end of the turn. Just realized that's not in focus, I do apologize. Plus flashback, so you can also cast this one from your graveyard, which from what I was reading, they've reintroduced that. Or at least that's what it seems to be. So I do remember I had a couple of friends who would cast your flashback spells, and they'd constantly just bombard you with spells that you could do nothing about. Unruly Mob. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a 1/1 counter on Unruly Mob. So that's a 1/1 creature, but if you lose enough creatures, this will get pretty powerful. What's this one? Defenestrate. If I said that wrong, I do apologize. Destroy a target creature without flying. And that's a nasty one if your opponent had this and it was a 40/40 card, which is possible. But Defenestrate, then you just kill that. Catha Commando, Flash. I'm not actually sure what that rule means. It has been a very long time since I played, but there we go. Cost 1, sacrifice Catha Commando, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's a 3/1 creature. Field of Ruin, tap it to add whatever that little symbol means. Again, it's been a long time since I played, so feel free to drop in the comments what these things actually mean, because with all these cards I've now got, I'm kind of tempted to get back into it. But pay 2 and tap, plus sacrifice Field of Ruin, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. Each player searches their library for a basic land card, then puts it on the battlefield, then shuffles. Yeah, not sure how I feel. I mean, I guess it's good if you've got an opponent that's got a land card that has multiple types, and you can just go, nope, you can't use that anymore. Fading Hope, return target creature to its owner's hand if its mana value was 3 or less. Scry 1, look at the top card of your library, put that card on the bottom of your library. Yeah, I guess if you get to keep the card, if you actually want it, that's probably a good thing. Again, you'd have to confirm the rules, I do apologise. Dawnheart Rejuvenator. What do we got? A 2/4 creature. When Dawnheart Rejuvenator enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life. And then tap it to add 1 mana of any colour. So, I don't know if this would count as a non-basic land card, but gaining life's always a bonus. I used to have a deck that I could gain, depending on how I drew, anywhere up to 20 life a turn. So the only thing that killed that one was poison decks. A Bird Admirer with Reach, Daybound. If player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. So that's something I'm not familiar with. The whole day-night cycle, that is, I'm assuming, new to this particular series. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. Bait Hook Angler, Disturb, cost 1 and then a blue land card as well, or blue mana. You may cast this card from your graveyard, transformed for its Disturb cost. Not sure what that means. Has it got... Oh, okay, it's got a back. So, again, not sure how this would work as you're drawing cards, because it is one of our 2-sided cards. If this was in a deck, you'd know what you're pulling next, as would your opponent. So... But then Hook Haunt Drifter, flying. If Hook Haunt Drifter would be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. If I remember the rules correctly, that means that instead of putting it into your graveyard where you can potentially pull it back out, it basically just leaves the game. That was my understanding of it. And we have a legendary creature. We have Adeline, the Resplendent Cathar. Vigilance. Adeline, Resplendent Cathar's power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Whenever you attack for each opponent, create a 1/1 white human creature token that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. So if you've got a lot of cards out, this one could potentially do a lot of damage, and it's relatively cheap. It's, 1 of any mana and then 2 white mana. So that's pretty cheap. That's something I'd want to put in sort of more towards end game, I suppose. And then for this booster, the foil that we've got, Shadow Beast Sighting, create a 4/4 green beast creature token. Flashback, 6 and a green. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its flashback cost, then exile it. So you can cast a spell, effectively cast a spell again, and put out 2 green beast creature tokens at 4/4. So that's not too bad at all. Alright, let's get into the second pack, and that was our foil card too. Second pack. This video may go along a little bit longer than I thought it would. Alright, so we have yet another art card, which is a very creepy looking priest. Let's see if I can get that properly. There we go. Back again with the black and white mountain. Again, the red has a nice sort of shine to it. I'm not sure if it picks that up on camera, but again, a beautiful piece of art on the card. We have the Path to the Festival. It's a sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. If there are 3 or more basic land types among lands you control, scry 1. And then flashback, so again you can cast this one from your graveyard. Nice quick way to get a couple of land cards out. No Way Out, again a sorcery. Sorcery seems to be a big theme with what I'm drawing out so far. Target opponent discards 2 cards. You create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. It can't block. When it attacks, sacrifice it at the end of combat. I'd rather a creature that can block, to be honest. Playing tabletop Warhammer when I used to collect the undead armies or the vampire counts, I'd use zombies as speed bumps, basically, and put them in front of knights. So I'd prefer a creature that can block, but it is what it is. A Diagraph Horde, creature zombie. When Diagraph Horde enters the battlefield, create 2/2 black zombie creature tokens with Decayed. When you do, exile up to 2 cards from graveyards. A creature with Decayed again, can't block. Yeah, zombies are speed bumps. That's what they should be. Might of the Old Ways. A target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Coven. Then, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, draw a card. It's interesting. That's, not sure how the wording works on that one, but, again, been a long time. Moonsliver Key. Sacrifice Moonsliver Key. Search your library for an artifact card with a mana ability or basic land card. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. Not a double-sided one. Lunar Frenzy. Target creature you control gets +X/+0 and gains first strike and trample until the end of the turn. First strike is exactly what it says it is for those who have never played before. The creature basically attacks first. If the power of the creature is higher than the defense of your opponent, then basically your creature takes absolutely no damage and their creature just dies. Trample, on the other hand, means that any remaining damage will follow through to basically the player or whatever other creatures they decide to try and block with, which can potentially go through, a few cards defending the opponent. Tireless Hauler, a human werewolf who has vigilance and daybound. No other real special things. I'm not sure what vigilance means. I'm assuming daybound this is how during the day cycle, this is the side you use. And then come nighttime, we have a Dire Strain Brawler, which is a creature werewolf. It is a 6/6 creature versus your 4/5 creature. Once again, has vigilance and nightbound. So again, during the night, this side up. During the day, this side up. Still feel weird about people knowing what card it is you're drawing as you draw it, though. Lunar Veteran. When another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. And then Disturb. You may cast this card from your graveyard transformed for its Disturb cost. Oh, okay, it's another double-sided. So a Luminous Phantom. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, you gain 1 life. If Luminous Phantom would be put into the graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. So again, we've got the white decks gaining quite a bit of life by the sounds of things, which is not a bad thing. It's how I won a lot of games. Another werewolf, Burly Breaker, Ward 1. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability that an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 1. And then Daybound, Nightbound. We have the Dire Strain Demolisher, which has Ward as well. Whenever this creature becomes target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter it unless that player pays 3. So, again, we go from a 6/5 creature to an 8/7. We have a Briar Bridge Tracker. which has Vigilance, and then when it enters the battlefield, investigate. Create a colorless clue artifact token with 2, sacrifice this artifact, draw a card. As long as you control a token, Briar Bridge Tracker, try saying that 10 times fast, gains +2/+0. Not a double-sided, that one. Sunset Revelry. If an opponent has more life than you, gain 4 life. If an opponent controls more creatures than you, create 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. If an opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw a card. And this one is our foil. That's not a bad card. I don't mind that. It is, once again, single-sided. And then a blankie. So you can use this card to represent a double face card. I'm not 100% sure how that works. Unless you use this, you put this in your deck, draw it, and then you'll have like a stack of your double face cards that you just pick one out of and do the costing. I don't know. Alright, pack number 3. So we're 24 cards in. We have yet another art card, which is Kitty Cats. I feel like I know someone who might really like that one. Another gorgeous black and white image with the nice shiny blue outer as our land card. Eaten Alive, sorcery. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature or pay 3 and a black. Exile target creature or planeswalker. For those who don't know, that basically means you can completely and utterly destroy one of your own cards if you really wanted to. But ideally, an enemy, and you use that against whatever their biggest nasty is. Rotten Reunion. I feel like the art on this one's a little bit familiar. Got the pitchfork in front of the house with the man and the woman. Although this day and age, shouldn't assume gender. Exile up to 1 target card from the graveyard. Create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. Again, can't block, kind of disappointing. And then flashback, so you can do the same thing again. Crawl from the Cellar. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. Put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target zombie you control. And flashback, so you can sort of bring back the dead. We've got a little bit of necromancy here. Return to Nature. Choose one. Destroy an artifact, destroy an enchantment, or exile a target card from the graveyard. Storm Skrillex. I feel like we should throw some dubstep in here for that one. It is a Drake with flying. Instant and sorcery spells you cast cost 1 of colorless mana to cast. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Storm Skrillex gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Single-sided card. Seize the Storm. Create a red elemental creature token with trample, and this creature's power and toughness are equal to the number of instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard, plus the number of cards with flashback in your own exile. So towards, I guess, the late game, that would potentially give you a few cards, or a really powerful card. Another werewolf, a Fangblade Brigand. Human werewolf, it gets, pay 1 colorless, 1 red. It gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until the end of the turn. 3/4. And then its night version, basically the same deal, or you can pay 4 and a red, and the creature gains +2/+0, and we go to a 4/5. Tavern Ruffian, which is daybound. If the player casts no spells during their own turn, it becomes night next turn. And then the nighttime version, which I almost thought for a sec that was more a lion. But it's nightbound. If the player casts at least 2 spells during their own turn, it becomes day. Constantly flick backwards and forwards here. Ecstatic Awakener. Sacrifice another creature, draw a card, then transform Ecstatic Awakener. Sorry, then transform. Okay, I see. So you pay to sacrifice something, and then you can flip it. So we go from, what is it, a 1/1 to a 4/4, the Awoken Demon. That's kind of creepy artwork. I actually really like it. Light Up the Night. Deals X damage to any target. It deals X plus 1 damage instead if that target is a creature or a planeswalker. Plus it's got flashback. But then what do we got? 3 and a red. Remove X loyalty counters from among planeswalkers you control. If you cast this spell this way, X can't be 0. Not sure what that means. And then we have a lovely, pretty shiny card, also known as a foil for some of us. When Bat Whisperer enters the battlefield, if an opponent lost life this turn, create a 1/1 black back creature. English is good today. Black bat creature token with flying. That's kind of cool. It's you kill enough opponents and you get plenty of cannon fodder there. All right, next pack. Try and get this through this a little bit quicker for you guys. Alright, our art card. If I can get it so that it's not getting shined on completely by the light. Nice, pretty angry looking, almost like a werefox with its color patterns there. Some more lovely artwork and the nice shiny purple border. Raise the effigy, choose one, destroy target artifact, or target attacking creature gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Burn the Accursed. Deals 5 damage to target creature and 2 damage to that creature's controller. If the creature would die this turn, exile it instead. Quick way to get rid of a card and an opponent. Immolation. Enchant creature gets +2/+2. It'd be nice if it had like a ongoing damage thing as things burn, but +2/+2 is pretty good. Gavany Silversmith. When he enters play or enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on up to 2 target creatures. So I'm guessing he's arming them and armoring them, I guess. Dissipate. Blue decks were always good for this. Counter a target spell. If the spell is countered, exile it instead of putting it into the owner's graveyard, so they won't be able to use flashback. Nebelgast Intruder. Flash, flying, and when Nebelgast Intruder enters the battlefield, up to 1 target creature and opponent controls gets -2/-0 until the end of the turn. We have another Bird Admirer. And then we have the cranky version of what I'm assuming is the Bird Admirer. Harvesttide Infiltrator with Trample and Daybound. It is a 3/2, and then in Night form, it is a 4/4 with Trample. Outland Liberator. Sacrifice the Liberator, destroy a target enchantment or artifact. And then we have the Werewolf version. But this time, whenever the Frenzied Trapbreaker attacks, destroy a target artifact or enchantment defending player controls. Excuse me. So you can either pay for it or just attack. Smoldering Egg. It is a dragon egg. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a number of ember counters on Smoldering Egg equal to the amount of mana spent to cast that spell. Then, if Smoldering Egg has 7 or more ember counters, remove them and transform the egg. So we turn into an Ashmouth Dragon. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Ashmouth Dragon deals 2 damage to any target. They're always fun. The Heirloom Mirror. Pay 1, tap it and pay a life, discard a card, draw a card, mill a card. Wow, that's a lot of stuff with cards. Then put a ritual counter on Heirloom Mirror. Then if it has 3 or more ritual counters on it, remove them and transform it. Activate only as a sorcery. The Inherited Fiend, which has flying. It becomes a 4/4 creature instead of an artifact. 2 and a black. Exile target creature card from the graveyard. Put a 1/1 token on Inherited Fiend. And lastly, for this pack, the Golgari Thug. When Golgari Thug is put into the graveyard, put a target creature card in your graveyard on top of your library. Then has Dredge. If you would draw a card, instead you may put exactly 4 from the top of your library into your graveyard. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to your hand, otherwise draw a card. And the last pack here, get rid of the rubbish. We have another art card. Sorry, trying to get the camera to not have the light ring reflected in there. It's the downside to shiny cards. We have another gorgeous piece of art in black and white. Brimstone Vandal. Creature Devil. It has menace. This creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So that's sort of somewhere where trample would sort of come into play as well. If it's neither day nor night, not sure how that works. It becomes day as Brimstone Vandal enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, Brimstone Vandal deals 1 damage to each opponent. Single-sided. Festival Crasher. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Festival Crasher gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Search Party Captain. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature you attacked with this turn. When Search Party Captain enters the battlefield, draw a card. Clarion Cathars. When Clarion Cathars enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Firmament Sage. If it's neither day nor night, it becomes day as Firmament Sage enters the battlefield. I feel like I sound like I've got a murmur when I say that. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, draw a card. The Obsessive Astronomer. If it's neither day or nor night, it becomes day as Obsessive Astronomer. Yeah, I said that right. We'll go with that. Enters the battlefield. Whenever day becomes night or night becomes day, discard up to 2 cards, then draw that many cards. Legendary Creature. Lisa the Forgotten Archangel. Flying, lifelink. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, return that card to its owner's hand at the beginning of the next end step. If creature an opponent control would die, exile it instead. The Candlegrove Witch has Coven, which again, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control 3 or more creatures with different powers, Candlegrove Witch gains flying until the end of the turn. So I'm starting to notice this little symbol up here. It's hard to see when the camera's out of focus. That's when it's a double-sided card. So we have the Shady Traveller with Menace and Daybound. It's a 2/3 creature, which turns into a Stalking Predator with Menace and Nightbound, which is a 4/4. Wake to Slaughter. Choose up to 2 target creature cards in your graveyard. An opponent chooses one of them. Return that card to your hand. Return the other to the battlefield under your control. It gains haste. Exile at the beginning of the next end step. So haste, I believe, allows you to attack as soon as you've put the creature onto the battlefield. Normally, when you play a card, you have to wait a turn before you can then attack with it, or I guess use any of its abilities. And then our shiny for this pack is the Chaplain of Arms, or I don't know how to say that. But it has First Strike, it has Ward, When it becomes the target of a spell, basically that opponent has to pay another mana. And then you've got Disturb, which you may cast this from your graveyard transformed in for its disturbed cost. So, yep, there we go. Chapel Shieldgeist, flying and first strike. Each creature you control has Ward 1. Whenever it becomes the target of a spell, basically you can counter it unless the target plays an extra colorless mana. And if it would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. And then, this is something that's a little bit new to me. So, Magic Minigame, Into the Story Horror Edition. Tell the best horror story you can using the cards in your booster as inspiration. Open a booster for each player and remove any add token and art cards, then sort the cards into separate piles for double face cards, or DFCs. Single-sided creature and planeswalker cards, land cards, and other non-creature cards. Shuffle the piles and place them face down. Go through the beats of the story below in order, revealing a card at the top of the specified pile or taking the specified action. Tell the story as you go. After a player tells a bit of the story for a beat, it's the next player's turn for the next story beat. If there are no cards with the requested type, players can make something up. So, the setting is a land card. Characters are 3 creatures or planeswalkers, and then why the characters are in that location, so a non-creature card. Almost kind of like a less offensive version of Cards Against Humanity, where you're telling a story instead of trying necessarily to make something offensively funny. It does sound like a bit of fun. And then there's a few more on the back here. A few more rules, I should say. But that's it, guys. Huge thank you to Wizards of the Coast for sending us this lovely little care package. If you're interested in Magic the Gathering, or if you love werewolves, or if you're just interested in art, wonderful, wonderful deck or set of cards to get your hands on, because as you can see, the artwork really is fantastic. And if you manage to get a nice shiny foil like this, where there's lots of foil, it's really, really shiny. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do know the rules better than I do, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, because I am actually kind of keen to start playing this again. Alrighty, guys, have yourselves a good one. Peace.